Hey, if you're just learning to code, I have got an awesome interview for you to watch coming up right now. Hey, welcome to another video. My name's Peter, and if it's your first time here, you want to learn to code, you want to stay motivated to reach that goal and change your life, then start now by subscribing and click that little bell icon so you don't miss anything. Hey, I want to introduce you to Juan Fabrega, a fantastic coder who I met at a coding meetup recently. He was part of a team that was doing a Vue.js presentation. He agreed to sit down with us and kind of share some of his wisdom about coding. This is part one of a three-part interview. So let's just sit down and talk with Juan Fabrega. Hey guys, here I am with Juan, and Juan, I just wanted to say thank you, dude, for doing this interview. We're thrilled to have you, and my first question for you is, what is your coding story? How'd you get into it? What were some of the steps that you took to get in? Why the heck did you start? And I'll let you kind of get in on it from there.
Yeah, for sure. So, I've been exposed to coding for a long time, just because of the nature of my job. I worked for a digital agency for a long time as a project manager, and I worked managing software teams and digital development teams. So I was exposed to all of it, back and front and everything, but purely from the project management perspective. So I was always pretty attracted to it, but I always felt relatively overwhelmed when it came to starting. So
understandably,
so I think that it was definitely a gradual thing, right? Little by little, I picked up on the concepts, right? Like when you project manage a team like that, you do pick up on the concepts, so you start to understand how things work, how things fit together. But it doesn't mean that you can actually do it. So you don't really know the technology, you don't know the language or the syntax or any of that. But once you start understanding how things work, then it makes things a little bit easier. So I think it was probably around a year and a half ago that I started to get a real itch to do it. And I think it really had to do with the fact that I just wasn't fulfilled a lot in my specific responsibilities with my job. So I always felt like
I think a lot of people here can kind of relate to that.
Yeah, I always felt like I was really happy with the company and my coworkers and the culture and everything, but I just wasn't happy with the actual work that I was doing, the day to day. Yeah. So it was really hard to it was just kind of a hard time to figure out what would make me happy, and it was kind of lucky because I was code adjacent a lot of the time.
Code adjacent.
So I started slowly kind of getting more into it, and I started sending instead of sending my team notes, I would send them style sheets and things like that. I would work on them in my own time and send them style sheets for changes that I wanted on a project or things like that. And little by little, I started to understand some of kind of how the pieces fit together a little bit better.
And how did you when you say that seems like kind of a pretty big jump. You must have been, were you just plowing through style sheets to try to understand what they were doing, or were you doing little tutorials online or something like that, or just? How was it?
Actually, it was not even close to that.
Okay, lay it on.
Basically, literally, I would just get a build from a team, right? And I would just go on the Chrome developer tools and start playing with stuff until it looked the way that I thought was right.
Right.
Because
and then did you have any way to save that, or?
Yeah, and I would just copy paste it and send it back in a ticket and be like, hey, here's a ticket. But instead of saying hey, instead of saying, hey, the layout doesn't look like the comp, I would just go, hey, why don't you just put these style tags in your CSS or something? Yeah. And most of the times it worked. A lot. And I got along pretty well with the developers, and we had a good rapport. So they didn't. And that's kind of like a no-no when. But I got along pretty well with them to the point where I think that they reacted relatively well to those kinds of things. So so that was really just the most basic start. And then. So I realized that I liked it. That's really the first thing. But I wasn't really that good. I didn't have a ton of exposure. I only had exposure to basic styling and UI. I didn't have any exposure to actual programming logic or anything like that. Yeah. So basically what I did is there's a specific project, my old company that I used to work for, and I was a product manager on it, and I thought it would be, we were a little bit understaffed for that project. And I thought I would just ask we talked to my security, hey, let me see if I can get my hands dirty with some of the UI development, and it'll ease some of the pain of being understaffed on this project. And you know, I feel like I have a pretty good eye for UI just from working with really talented art directors for a lot of years.
Kind of osmosis.
Yeah, and so they were like, yeah, go for it. So basically, that was my first real kind of dive into development, and it was
it scary?
It was kind of scary, and it was really funny too because I would ask really the most basic questions ever. For example, we had all these build tools and deployments, and we were using a Webpack template for our project and all that stuff. And I basically just wanted to just get up and running, right? But it took me like a day and a half to even just get all the stuff installed on my machine and install all the dependencies. I mean, I didn't even know what dependencies were at that point. I didn't know anything. Yeah. And anyway, but as soon as I got everything, I was like, all right, let me just go to this CSS file because that's what I know. Right. And it worked out pretty well. I mean, I feel like I did a pretty good job. We actually, the product, it went well. So, and I was really happy working on it. So.
Well, you bring up something that to me I noticed quite a bit too, is like you have these kind of, I think everybody is going to have those, it's like weird gaps in knowledge where you're like pretty far ahead in one thing, but then you're like, well, how do I deploy it to the web? You're like way up here in JavaScript or whatever, but then there's like these little things that you should have learned at the very beginning. But and which kind of brings me to the next question is about self-taught, and are you self-taught or not? I know that we've been talking enough that I know that you are self-taught, and so I'm not going to like pretend like I don't know that while we're talking right here. But can you just kind of tell me, as far as being self-taught, what are some of the things that you wish that you would have known when you started that you know now, or some of the processes maybe, or some of the kind of learning tricks that you would be able to go back and go like, Juan of a year and a half ago, dude, if I could have only told you this then when you were starting out. Do you have a couple of those that you want to share with us?
Yeah, things I wish. I mean, there's a long list, I guess.
like everything I've learned since then. But
things I wish I'd known. As far as development itself, not a lot. The truth is because you learn things all the time, and so next week I can tell you something I wish I'd known last week, right? But I think as far as the overall feeling and the overall kind of philosophy when it comes to learning how to become a programmer, I would say that there's a fear of starting that I think you need to do away with as soon as possible. There's a fear of doing things wrong that you need to do away with as fast as possible, because that's really the only thing stopping you at the end of the day. So I do feel like a lot of times, like I said, I've been exposed to code for a long time, and there have been times where I felt like I could do it. There's been times where I felt like I wouldn't want to get started with it, and I always ended up kind of crashing and burning in a sea of being overwhelmed.
Of self-doubt.
So I think that for me, it would just be that's the one piece of advice that I would always give myself is, whatever you're doing right now is fine, and don't overthink it, I guess.
That is good advice, too, because for me, it's like, I've been coding now, it's just about 3 months, I'm getting to the point where I can kind of function, and it's awesome. But it's also like, it's such a roller coaster ride emotionally. It's like, dude, I'm a grown man, and I have had plenty of actual problems in life, but this has gotten on top of me more than many other things that would have, other like larger problems in actual life. It's like, one day I'll be doing great and I've got JavaScript going and I'm pretty happy with how I can make a for loop and blah, 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 blah. And then the next day I'll just get stuck on one little stupid thing and it'll be like, I'll never get it. And I'll just be like in this crazy kind of funk that is like, like a 12-year-old would get into, and it's like so silly, but it is, and a lot of that is, there's kind of a give and take with what you were talking about you want to jump in and get something done, start building projects and so forth, but then it's like, you gotta go, okay, well, I built this clock a couple days ago where like little thing ticks around and you gotta hook it up with, get time, get seconds and blah, 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 and animate it in CSS and so forth. Great little project. But it's like, okay, you start in on it, and then you're like, all of a sudden, like terrified that you're gonna break the little, you got this bar in it, and then you're gonna like break the stupid little hand or something and not know how to get back because it's all kind of interwoven. You know what I mean? Yeah, and I mean,
you're right, and I think you definitely have to go over that fear as soon as possible. I mean, for me, it was just more the fear that I was not doing. So I guess what I would say is, if something works, then that's the way to do it when you're starting out, right? And I think that there's this feeling in the firming community that it's not just that it has to work, it's that it has to be done the right way.
It has to be
and
clean,
that's really scary, right? And that's really scary to be like, well, my thing works, but I don't know if it's good enough to send to somebody because they're going to rip me apart for not doing it the right way. So it's really frustrating, and it really stops you from doing a lot. It stops you from getting yourself out there. It stops you even from starting to build something, because instead of saying, I think a good way to frame this is like, now with JavaScript, the JavaScript ecosystem is pretty complex, which is great because there's a ton of things available, but it's also very overwhelming. Mm-hmm. So you hear all these people like, well, I want to learn JavaScript. Should I do React or should I do Vue? And it's like, no, just do JavaScript, right? Like just do an index, HTML, and pull your script in, and like start building little loops and little logic in there, and just call it a day. Because I think that's part of the problem. Is like you could do almost anything you're doing in React in vanilla JavaScript. Right. It just obviously is way more complicated, but the truth is, when you're starting, you're not building an enterprise web application. You're not needing routing and state management to that level. You just need a widget to react to a click, right? Right. Which is like, if you want, you got to do like a drop down menu. So it's like, so when you think about that, it's like when you try to put it into React or Vue or any other framework, that's like building a Rube Goldberg machine, right? It's like all these things that have to cascade down to basically just do hello world at the end of the day, right? So don't overcomplicate yourself when you're starting, and just make stuff that works, and don't worry whether it's the right way to do it, because you're gonna learn the right way eventually. Mm-hmm. And now all that matters is that you get that encouragement that you actually completed something. Move on to the next thing. Yeah. So that's good advice, dude. It is really good advice, and it's very easy to, even when you know that advice, to still not do it for some crazy reason. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. I know that it's not just me, because I watch enough YouTube, I read enough blogs, that I know that that's just kind of a very common like pitfall. Yeah. Everybody's like constantly trying to dig themselves out of that stupid pit of like, I'm functioning, but I'm scared to do it. Yeah. It's funny, if you look at Stack Overflow, right? Usually it's the right answer followed by 20 other people saying, well, the answer works, but it's not great. This is the way you should do it now. Right. You could have whittled like 400 millicycles off of this, or whatever the stupid thing is. Yeah. So even the right answers on Stack Overflow are getting critiqued by other people who, for good reason, want to do things better. But when you're a beginner, those things are just way too overwhelming, and they just become distractions in the way of your progress, I think. So. Right. So get building today. Get building on the thing. Well, it is the truth, man. You just got to get your feet wet, and you got to quit being a crybaby about it. Yeah. I'm in there right now. It's like, and you just want to. Sometimes you want to hang yourself, and sometimes you just want to shout it from the rooftops. I built this stupid little clock. And then your wife's like, great, honey. Yeah. Looks awesome. Do that, exactly. Yeah. And I think we all talk about it. Yeah. I want to thank Juan for just sitting down with us and sharing his experiences and his thoughts on coding. And I want to hear from you. What do you want me to ask in future interviews with coders, man? Please leave those questions in the comments. And like always, keep rocking, keep coding, do not give up. God bless, and we will see you in the next video.
Leave a like, share this video. Leave a like, share this video. Leave a like, share this video. Leave a like, share this video.